Hey YouTubers, Grimmy here, and this is the video review for the Transformers Generations Skids and Crosscut figures. Yeah, we're doing two reviews in one, since these guys pretty much use the same mold. So why don't we get to it. Now the first thing, as always, the figures include their own comic books. From the IDW comics. Skids actually has an issue with him in it, very actively, while Crosscut has an issue from the Dark's Cybertron series. And I do believe he's in it at some parts. He's not really in it a lot. But it is a pretty nice thing to have these comics included because, it helps expose you to the IDW comic series, which is a really good one. I gotta admit, these pack-in comics got me into the IDW Transformer comics. So anyway, taking a look at the figures, you see that Skids and Crosscut transform into these nice little sport cars. Which is a little bit reminiscent of the minivan that they used to be in the G1 series. A little quick comparison. So the character has changed alt modes over the years. But as you can see, at least on Skids, I don't have a Crosscut. He was an e-hobby kind of figure back in the day. But you can see that there have been a few things that have been carried over from the original, like the red stripe on the side and the blue color, although G1 Skids was a lot darker. The Generation Skid used a much lighter blue. But there are some new additions that really help this out, like the red hubcaps. I think that was a nice touch. And the grill is actually well painted. Unfortunately though, there is an issue on these figures, as you can see on the back. Let me see if I can zoom in where the light is. You can probably see there are a couple stress marks, like right here and right here. Now this is one of the first releases of Skids, so that might have an effect on it, but Crosscut is actually showing signs of stress marks in the same area. Oh, it's kind of hard to pick it out on the camera. Yeah, you can probably see it right about there. So it might be advisable to just keep them in one mode. I'm not sure how many times these can transform without breaking at that point, which is a downer. I'm not sure if it's just plastic tolerances or just a very weak point on the joints area. But in any case, the vehicle modes do look pretty nice. As you saw with Skids, he has a nice blue. It's a very light blue one, but it's still very nice. I would have liked a darker one though. On Crosscut, he is done in this nice silver plastic. But since the areas with the clear plastic are painted, they're actually a much brighter silver than on the actual car. Which might be able to see, but it shows through a lot easier in real life. So that's something to watch out for. But he does have nice silver hubcaps, and I do like that they painted the hubcaps on both of these guys. I think that was great for them. Instead of the red stripe, he has a black one. And like a black grill with a very nice metallic red at the bottom. It's a good bit of headlights and a bigger Autobot symbol than what Skids has. They do roll pretty well. And as you notice, they have these little weapons that can pop onto these ports on the side, but you don't need to keep them on. And that actually gives you a little bit of a view of the nice metallic red in the on the side of them. Yeah, Skids are the same. You can just pop the weapons off to get a more believable vehicle mode. But anyway, I think it's time we got these guys into robot mode and see how they look in that form. Now that we have them in robot mode, you can see that they're pretty well armed to the teeth. Seriously, this is supposed to be a theoretician and a negotiator. At least that's what I can gather Crosscut is based on his bio. Yeah, and yet they have more armaments than the typical Decepticon. It's hard to understand why. But yeah, go figure. It's just the way they are. But yeah, these guys are pretty well armed. You got missile launchers on the shoulders, guns on the shoulders, guns on the forearms. It's got two blasters that can combine into a super weapon. And they have options on how to display too. Like, for example, with Skids, we can pull back this part, withdraw the guns, pull up the missile pods, bring down these weapons, and he's looking a lot more peaceful. I mean, he's still well armed, but at least he doesn't look like he's ready to take out an entire country. So this might be the better way to display him if you want him to keep that more peaceful attitude. For articulation, he does have some ball joints at the shoulders, so he has forward, backward, in and out. Although the way his body's built, they will crash into a lot of things. The backpack will, and the chest. He has ball jointed elbows, so they got plenty of movement there. He has a waist swivel. He has a ball jointed head. Ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, very tight knee joints. In fact, so tight that if you try to bend it the wrong way, the transformation joint will go before the knee joint does. So you gotta be careful about that. Oh yeah, and he has ball jointed ankles. So he's got plenty of articulation. Well, they both do. And I think they turned out pretty well for it. For a quick comparison, let's bring in G1 Skids. As you can see, there were a lot of cues taken from the G1 when going to this Generations mold. Most likely the chest and hips area, the red feet. Although they didn't paint the hands red on Skids for some reason. Although they went for red arms instead. But, you know, little differences won't hurt. They did the door wings a little bit differently, too, but it still has the same effect. And actually, I do like this new version of Skids. And of course, I like Crosscut as well. I mean, let's get a good look at Crosscut here. I mean, he has all the same articulation, but that red, metallic red they use for him is gorgeous. I mean, look at that shine on him. And I don't know how well it's showing on camera, but he's got this really nice metallic red finish on him. And, you know, every bit of red on him is that metallic red. So he's going to have some really shiny looking parts. So his feet are done that way. His hips are done in that red. Well, his, like, the lower waist is done in that red. Like, the only one part that isn't done in that metallic red is the Autobot symbol and the tail lights. And it would have been cool if they did the Autobot symbol in that metallic red. I would have loved that. But yeah, I do like this look for him. And the head sculpt is done very well. And it is gorgeous. And, you know, he's actually done really well. As you can see, he's got his guns in the separated form, while Skids actually has it in the combined form. The guns just separate and pull together by just plugging the smaller gun into the back of the bigger one, like so. Yeah, it's real simple to combine them. I'm going to get a little bit more into Skids' look. Particularly the head sculpt is very well done. I do like that. And as I mentioned before, the reds and blues are pretty close to what it was in the G1, except a lot lighter. One thing about Skids, if you got the first release like I did, the hip, like these hip pieces here were put on backwards. So yeah, so I actually had to take them off the hips, take them off the thighs, swap them, and then put them back on. It's easy to fix, but it can be annoying. Especially with the way they were, you couldn't really get any forward movement. And Crosscut fell over. Oh well. There we go. But yeah, that was fixable, and from what I understand, future releases of Skids don't have that problem. So it was corrected. But other than that, I do recommend these figures. I still would advise caution about transforming them. It seems like the transformation joints in the legs, which would become the like the back end of the cars, it looks like there's a thin spot in there that's causing a lot of stress marks. Other than that, they're actually quite solid. And so I do recommend these guys, especially Skids. If you're looking for a classic shelf, he'd be perfect for it. Crosscut's a good classics version of the character, but since he wasn't in the G1 cartoon, it's you know, get them if you want to go for like all the G1 characters, even the ones that didn't make it to the shows. But anyway, I do hope you have enjoyed this review. Next batch of Generations we'll be looking at will be the final wave, which I will get to as soon as I get a hold of them. But next week we're doing something special. It's going to be Smash Week here. Starting Saturday, we're going to be doing reviews for various characters that were on Super Smash Bros. To celebrate the release of the Wii U game on the 21st. So I hope I get to see you guys then. Anyway, take care, have fun, and bye-bye.